Silver Dollar City was an absolute blast. Let's talk today about our experience as a family of 4 at Silver Dollar City. Who am I? I'm Gregg, and I just share my life as it happens with you. All right, so I have a family of 4. It's myself, my wife, my daughter who's 12, and my son who is 15. We went to Silver Dollar City and we stayed in Branson for a week. Let's talk about Silver Dollar City. So when you show up at Silver Dollar City, there's the access road, I guess is what you would call it, heading to the parking lots. Here's hack number 1 about visiting Silver Dollar City. When you're coming up that access road, stay to the left. It's not super obvious, but all the lanes to the right lead to premium parking, which is $20. If you stay to the left, which is like a single lane that's not as obvious, it looks like it's like for bus bypass, that lane takes you to free parking. And the free parking is fantastic because they run these trams out to the free parking lots where you'll be just as close to the tram pickups as if you're in premium parking. And they run trams all day long. So I think the longest we may have waited for a tram was like 3 or 4 minutes. So it's not a big deal to park out in the free parking. I'd say go for it. Plus, it gives you an extra little ride to kind of watch what's going on your way up. The tram brings you right to the front gate. So there's probably even less walking if you use the free parking and ride the tram. Our family parked in lot number 3 every time, and we were right at like the tram pickup, so we had almost no walking to get into the park. Once you get in the park, however, be prepared to walk because you're going to walk all day long. All right, so we covered hack 1, which is free parking. Now you're getting into the park. 1, if you're thinking about going multiple days, I highly recommend considering a season pass because it's about 3 days worth of visiting the park and you'll pay for a season pass. So that could be very worthwhile. Plus a season pass comes with some discounts on some food and some merchandise depending on time of year and the place where you're buying it. So I've got that covered. Now let's talk about the park itself. I've got a map here of the park. Now normally, and as this map looks, it's a flat park. Really, this is how the park is. I mean, it is one big steep hill. All right, so you are going to enter the park here, and it's going to wind you around to what they call Main Street. Here is Main Street. This is the flat top spot of the park. Now to get anywhere in the park from here, you are walking down a hill and then you are going to walk back up a hill to go to anything else. Let me explain. Over here is Time Traveler. Down here is Fire in the Hole. So from Time Traveler, that's all steps to get down into Time Traveler. So you're going to walk a lot of steps. And then when you leave Time Traveler, if you want to go to Fire in the Hole, you will continue down and over the railroad tracks a little bit into the Fire District. This is the new Fire in the Hole. They closed the old Fire in the Hole. But now if you want to go anywhere else, you're going to come back up the hill. You don't have to come all the way to Main Street, which is here. There's a little crossover here to get anywhere else. So you'll walk back up the hill past Time Traveler again to this crossover. Now you can come back down into these other areas. So Time Traveler's here. If you come back up and across, you can come down to, this one is Powder Keg. But then from Powder Keg, you're gonna have to walk back up a hill and then down and over to get to, what do they call this one? Wildfire. So those are like the 3 giant roller coasters. I feel like I'm missing, oh, and then of course, there's the big wooden roller coaster back here. And the way you get to that one, I think you go down here and over and then up to this one and then up and back to this one. So the park is laid out to kind of get you down into these sections where you just don't run like a loop like some other parks. So you can run loop to just coaster to coaster to coaster. Here you go down to the coaster, then back up, and then down to the next coaster, then back up, then down to the next coaster and back up. It's actually not a bad layout, but every time you leave a coaster, you're going to walk uphill to get to wherever you want to go. So be prepared for that. And some of the hills are steep. If you have some mobility issues, you can bring scooters. They also rent scooters. So that might be a good option for you. The park is beautiful. They really keep it very clean, very nice. And the theming is excellent. The theming is fantastic, actually. Even the staff are on point with their theming. Even though it's not like Disney or as big as Disney, they try as hard as Disney to keep their theming and park nice. I even noticed there were a lot of, I'll call them custodial staff because I'm not sure what they call them. Custodial staff walking through the park in character, not in the way, but just picking up anything that they saw out of place, checking trash, keeping the park super clean. And I really loved that. The park was just kept immaculate, even with the crowds that were there. So that's neat. Now food, let's talk about food next, and then we're going to get into coasters and rides and other experiences at the park. The food at Silver Dollar City is pretty good. It's not like top-notch food, but it's not normal theme park food or amusement park food. And I will explain my wording choice there in a minute. But the food is pretty good, and different areas have different food. So I was very happy with that. And in all honesty, I mean, especially for being an amusement park or a theme park, the food prices weren't terrible. Most items on the menu were about $12 or $13 plus your drink. So you were in about, I'd say $15 to $17 per meal, which I did not feel was insane, especially since the food quality was pretty good. So eating at the park, yes, it's going to cost you $1 or $2, but it's not bad food. It's not like fair food. So that's really good. Now, throughout the park, they've got all these quaint little shops, which are really neat. They've got these shops, and they also, for a lot of the shops, have craftsmen or artisan who are making some of the things in the shops. Like they've got a leather goods shop, and they've got somebody there making leather goods. They've got a blacksmith shop, and they've got multiple people, I believe, making metal things. They've got at least one person turning wood on a lathe, and then a wood shop where you can buy wood goods. They have a candy shop where they're making fudge and other candies. They have a taffy shop where they make taffy. So there's a lot of great, unique little shops that you can go in. And aside from just being a little shop that's very quaint, very nice, they've got people in there actually doing the skill of what it is that they're selling in that shop. So that's also really cool. And it can be a great little break from the going up and down the hills and walking ride to ride all day long. You can go visit these little shops, see some people doing their craft, learn a little bit more about these crafts or skills or whatever you want to call them. So that's really cool. Then up in like this top section here, just off of what they call Main Street, you can see that right over here, they've got these really old buildings. Some of them were built on site, so they're not as old as they look. Some of them were moved to be on site, which tell a little bit more of the history of the Ozark region and where Silver Dollar City was built. So there is a little church back in here. There's like a bakery building in here where they sell apple butter. There's a leather goods shop. There's the knife shop where they actually do forge knives, I believe, in there as well. So there's that really cool little section there of just these quaint old shops. Down by Time Traveler, they have a Christmas store, which is holiday decor all year round. So they've got these really cool things. All right, so we covered all of that. Now, let's cover coasters, because that's what everybody's interested in. Well, get the app. Let's start there with coasters. Get the app, because the apps will tell you if a coaster is open or closed, and it's updated nonstop. And it will also update you as to wait times for these coasters. So if you're like down in this corner of the park and you're thinking about running over here to Time Traveler, before you do that climb up the hill and then through all the stairs to Time Traveler, you can check to see if Time Traveler is open and what the wait time is before you make that run all the way across the park. So it will help you plan a little better. Also, the app has a map, and it has GPS guidance where you can use it for it to guide you through the park to get to where you're trying to go. So the app is worthwhile, and you don't need a Silver Dollar City account to use the app. If you do have an account, it'll keep track of your passes and other things that you may have in your account. So the app is a very useful tool. Let's start, I'm gonna start in this back corner down here at the bottom of the hill. So you come in the top, you went all the way down to the bottom to their wooden coaster. So as we talk about these coasters, let's go back to what I said about amusement park and theme park. I see the two as very different. Amusement parks are more fair type parks, more fair type rides, more fair type foods. Amusement parks typically aren't as clean. There's a particular chain of parks that happens to have flags in their name that make me think more of amusement parks. Then there are theme parks. They typically don't have as many amusement rides. They have more roller coasters and more theming to the park as a whole. This would be more along the lines of Disney, Universal as the big boys in the game. And then you've got Silver Dollar City, Dollywood, and some others that do well with theming and theme parks. And also I tend to find a vast difference between an amusement park and a theme park when it comes to ride maintenance and ride experience. So now that we covered that, I will definitely say Silver Dollar City is way up there in theme park land. Very well maintained park, very nice theming, very clean park. So they are a theme park. All right, so let's go back to their wooden coaster. It is a wooden coaster with steel overlay on some of the wood for the car to sit on. This ride, for being a wooden coaster, is extremely smooth. Most wooden coasters just about rip your head off as it jerks you around, especially at parks with the flag name. Here, yes, there's some jerkiness to it. It is a wooden coaster. Let's be fair and honest here. But overall, it is an extremely smooth ride. It is extremely well maintained and insanely impressive. It does do, I believe, a barrel roll or two in there. It's surprising. So the wooden coaster at the back of the park, I'm trying to remember what they call it. Outlaw Run is a fantastic coaster. Now let's come back up the hill and over here to Powder Keg. Powder Keg is a steel coaster that is supposed to be kind of like you're in a mine car and like there's an explosion and it launches you off. And it is a surprising launch off. Absolutely incredible, super smooth coaster. Fantastic ride, doesn't jerk you around at all, but gives you this smooth loop after loop, spin, not crazy, like scary, just a great ride. Then let's come back up the hill and talk about Wildfire. Wildfire looks scary. It is not. It is another fantastic steel roller coaster. Incredibly smooth, incredibly well maintained. Now we're going to come across the park over to, what do they call this? Thunderation. Thunderation was closed while we were there, so we didn't get to ride it. At one point, I did see workers out on the tracks, so I'm going to assume the workers were there getting the ride ready. And while we talk about that ride being down while we were there, it appears that Silver Dollar City takes ride safety to the extreme. And that can be annoying at times, but it is also very reassuring and makes me happy. And you can tell from the ride itself that they do take ride safety and ride maintenance very serious. The way it becomes annoying is if there's any little glitch at all that the systems of the ride pick up, they shut it down until maintenance takes a look at it or approves it to go. So throughout the day, different rides may shut down and then restart based on little minor glitches. And it's because they take ride safety so serious. You've heard of accidents happening at amusement parks where they ignored some safety things or ignored a glitch and then people get injured. I'd say it's going to be very hard for a guest at this park to get injured with how carefully they monitor these rides and how quickly they are to shut it down if there's any kind of a glitch and make sure it's fixed or repaired or safe for operation. All right, so we just covered Thunderation. Right next to Thunderation is Time Traveler. Now, Time Traveler looks super scary because it's a car that you're sitting in, two people on each side, and it can spin. Now, my first thought was it's going to free spin, which is going to cause my lunch to reappear. Although it may somewhat free spin, it is a very gradual almost free spin. It doesn't just free spin, but it does have some rotation to it. This is probably the smoothest ride in the entire park and the least scary of them all to actually ride. It's just the scariest one to look at before you ride it. So get over that fear because Time Traveler is worth every ounce of fear you may have had before you ride it. Now, getting to Time Traveler is a lot of stairs. You go down all these stairs, then you go up more stairs onto the launch deck where you get on the ride. So be prepared. It's a lot of stairs, but this ride is completely worth all the walking, all the stairs, and all of the fear that you're going to have looking at it. All right, coming out of Time Traveler, we are going to go down the hill, and let's go to the right for a minute. They call this Grand Exposition, I believe. And I believe that's down where the kiddie rides are. Very nice little section, kind of tucked away in the back, with a bunch of really nice kiddie rides. My family were too old for the kiddie rides. My daughter and son did ride a couple of the bigger kiddie rides, if you will, but we really didn't spend much time there. So then now we're going to come back out of there and go over into the Fire District, where the new Fire in the Hole is. The new Fire in the Hole, yes, it's a smooth ride. Yes, it's an indoor ride. But honestly, I was very disappointed with it. Now, let's be fair. They call it a family ride. Family rides aren't typically very fast. It's more of a cart on a track, and it does go up, and it has a small drop at one point. But that's the ride. That's the whole ride. Inside this ride, inside the building, it feels like they did well with theming, but then cut some corners and need to come back and finish some of the decoration for the ride. Because the ride Fire in the Hole, the new Fire in the Hole, is brand new this year, the ride wait times for it are ridiculously long, and it's not worth the wait time. So what I would suggest is watching the app for the new Fire in the Hole ride and see when the wait times are low and then ride it then. Typically, you're going to find long wait times early in the day and shorter wait times near the very end of the day. Hack, right there. If you want to ride that ride, watch the wait times and you'll probably find better wait times at the end of the day. All right, that covers the major coasters. Now, they also have one of those round, soak you, you are going to get wet type rides. That looked like a blast. We didn't get on it. Right before we got on it, they had shut it down. Apparently, somebody did get injured. They didn't say how or what, but said they were shutting it down. Everything needed to be reviewed. They needed to understand what happened. I don't know. I didn't see any injured people or obviously injured people, so I don't know what this injury was. It might have been a scrape. I don't know, because they do take ride safety very seriously. The log flume ride also, which is near Powder Keg, I believe it was over, like, headed out that way. That looked like another great ride. We did ride that ride, and it does have one massive drop in it. The rest of it is your normal kind of float around, go up the climb hill and splash down. Really good ride. Yes, we got wet, but not nearly as wet as that round one that's going to soak you. The shows at Silver Dollar City were phenomenal. We saw a couple of the shows and a couple of the music groups. We were there during Barbecue and Bluegrass Festival. The bluegrass bands that they had were just fantastic to see, and they provided a nice rest as you were walking around the park. Overall, Silver Dollar City is an absolutely amazing park. I highly recommend it. It's fantastic, and if you should experience any kind of difficulty with it, their staff are incredibly friendly and helpful and will help you find what you're looking for, or I'm pretty sure they're going to do whatever it takes to make things right with you. So that was our experience at Silver Dollar City, the kind of beginning-ish of May 2024. I hope that helps, and feel free to subscribe to this channel for more great updates as we visit lots of things around this country and around this world, and there are going to be a handful of things that we've done around Branson that will be follow-up videos to this one. I hope this was helpful, and I hope you have a fun and awesome day.